Welcome everybody. Hello, how are you? We'll wait a few more minutes to see if anybody else is joining. Hello, good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. This is Juan from Eurotour with Jimena joining me today. We are going to start with a short video so we can wait a few more minutes. Well, actually the video is very short, 1 more minute to see if anybody else is joining. And you can start introducing to the area that we will be talking today. Today we will talk about Austral Patagonia, Austral second part. This will be covering Tierra del Fuego area. So let me start with a short video to introduce our area that we will be visiting today. Welcome everybody.
Yeah, Mom.
Hello, buenos días. Hello, Diane. Welcome.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm going to keep everybody in silent and later open the microphones at the end if anybody has questions. This webinar will be recorded. So as I was mentioning in the beginning, today we will focus on Tierra del Fuego, Patagonia second part. 2 weeks ago, we have been covering El Calafate and Punta Arenas. We ended up talking in Punta Arenas and how to connect to this beautiful area, Ushuaia. So we have been talking how to combine this corner of Argentina and Chile and doing long trips, like 10 to 15 days trips, covering these areas with short flights or having less flights than other long itineraries. In this area today, we can, if you remember, we last talked about a cruise that was covering from Punta Arenas to Ushuaia. Punta Arenas to Ushuaia, there's one connection possible that is with the Australis cruise that we will cover later today. And so this will be today concentrating more in Ushuaia, Tierra del Fuego, this island, this beautiful island, and all the possibilities that we have here. This area, it has a lot of variety, big diversity of excursions for everybody. It's from conventional to more exploring programs, going to Antarctica, cruises, inland programs. So as I was mentioning, this is the gateway to Antarctica. So let's start a little more, just a refresh of who we are. If probably it's your first time hearing about us, we are a local DMC with more than 67 years in the market. So we are one of the leading companies in Argentina. Head office is now in Buenos Aires, and we have 4 offices in the countryside, in Ushuaia, actually where we are going to talk today, in Salta and in Calafate in Patagonia that we covered last week, 2 weeks ago. And well, 2 offices in Buenos Aires because we also had an outgoing department for Argentinians traveling overseas. Just a short recap on the COVID. COVID is still, our borders are still closed, so we are not receiving passengers from overseas yet. We are hearing, and probably it's going to happen, that in September we might open for everybody the borders. So that's a great news, but still under conversations. All the politicians are talking about this possibility. So we hope this will continue as a great idea to open our borders in 1st of September. Yeah. So let's start with this, discovering this Tierra del Fuego, land of fire. This is all this island. This is an island that is shared between Argentina and Chile. As you can see on this map, Ushuaia is the capital city. It's located just facing in the shore of the Channel of Beagle. Is the capital of the island in the Argentinian side. And as I was mentioning before, this is the gateway to Antarctica, only 1,000 kilometers from Ushuaia, and we get to Antarctica. So there's a lot of cruise lines leaving out from here, out to this beautiful continent of Antarctica. Later, we will cover some of the ideas of how to combine our Ushuaia with the Antarctic. And we also have in this area another little town that is called Puerto Williams. Actually, there was some controversy about Puerto Williams calling the southernmost city. Ushuaia, it's for us, it's the southernmost city in the world. And last 2 years ago, Puerto Williams has declared to be the southernmost city, but actually it's a little tiny town. And what they did, the Chileans are converting that into a city to make it the southernmost city, but it's still on discussion if this is the proper southernmost city in the Chilean side now. Yeah. So now today in this webinar we will be doing covering Ushuaia, the national park. We will be covering the area of the Estancia Harborton, which is on the east part. We will be covering the inland part of the island. And but first, let me give you some information on how to combine, how to get into Ushuaia. See, this is an island. There's daily flights from Buenos Aires. This is the longest flight that we have in Argentina to the end of the world. This is how we call it in Ushuaia, the southernmost city. And it's the longest flight that we have in Argentina. It's 4 hours flight from Buenos Aires to Ushuaia. And also there are combinations that you can do from different parts of Argentina without coming via Buenos Aires. So if you are in Calafate, where we have been talking in the glaciers last time, you can fly from there into Ushuaia, like in a short flight, 45 to 1 hour flight, you can do combination of these 2 beautiful areas going from Ushuaia to Calafate, or from Trelew, where the penguins on the Trelew and Puerto Madryn is where the penguins and the whales are in Argentina. So you can fly like 2 hours from Trelew into Ushuaia. Yeah, there are different possibilities to combine also by land, but the land, as this is an island, it's a long trip to combine from the land to the closest point that will be Puerto Punta Arenas, sorry, in the Chilean side. Actually, there's no combinations that you can do in the Argentinian side by land. So you always have to cross into Chile first and then cross from Porvenir into Punta Arenas. Yeah, so there's no possibilities of a land crossing from Argentina in the Argentinian side. As I was saying, 3,000 kilometers to Buenos Aires, 1,000 kilometers to Antarctica, and a short distance from to the national park, 12 kilometers only to the main national park that is on the border to Chile. Also, the airport is very close to the hotel area. We have a hotel that is, we have an airport that is only 10 kilometers away from Ushuaia city, where most of the hotels are located. There's a few hotels that are 5, 10 to maximum 10 minutes away of the city center. There are hotels in the city center and also hotels outside the downtown area, like Aracur or Cauquenes are top deluxe properties, part of the leading hotels of the world. Well, there are a lot of possibilities and for different budgets. So you can find hotels in different areas in the surroundings of the city of Ushuaia. Yeah. This is then a picture from the air of the city center of Ushuaia. So you can see it's right next to the Andean range. The Andes always divides Argentina and Chile, but the particularity here, Ushuaia, is that it's the only city that is located crossing the Andes. Normally, most of the Chilean side is in the other side of the Andean range. And here we have a city that is, you are crossing the Andes and you are still in Argentina, in Ushuaia. So it's the only southwest city that is located after the Andean range. What else? So the Beagle Channel that is facing Ushuaia, it's a connecting way from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Remember, in the past, before having the Panama Channel, all the cruises, all the ships, the cargo ships, and everybody was doing, all the expedition ships were doing this complete round through South America, all the way up to the Pacific this way. So it was a lot of people crossing via the Beagle Channel or the Magellanic Passage in this area. So this was a very long way to circumnavigate. So you are still getting a few cruises that are doing this, but on a touristic plan. Yeah. Now talking about seasons, we have our high season for this area. It's from October to March. Do you remember, for most of you that might be on the Northern Hemisphere, we are opposite to you. Now we are starting our winter time. Today is a beautiful autumn winter cold day in Buenos Aires, but it's not a very hard weather here in Buenos Aires. In Ushuaia, yes, they do get 0 temperatures. They get snow. Actually, one of the best ski seasons is in the longest seasons is in Ushuaia because of how close they are to Antarctica. So from October to March, we have the summer season, and that's when the cruises to Antarctica operates. Also, the cruises circumnavigating in South America, they also operate in that time of the year. Yeah, so depending the time of the year that you go to Ushuaia, you will see different landscapes. For me, it's beautiful going in summer and also in winter. In winter, there's a lot of beautiful activities that you can do, a part of the ski center that is Cerro Castor. But we'll talk about this later when we go through this webinar. So we'll talk today about the navigations. We will explain the national park. We'll be talking about the city tour and the museums that we have. But now we will start with the Tierra del Fuego National Park. This is like the first visit that everybody going to Ushuaia is doing. We normally recommend a 2 to 3 nights stay, depending on what you are doing. Some people are visiting Ushuaia just for the day on a shore excursion. if you are one of these big cruises are landing in Ushuaia, they do a shore excursion, and most of the time they include this visit as the first visit because it's the most typical that you have to include to your passengers. It's, for me, it's not the best, but it's still very good. Because you have a lot of landscapes. You have the famous train of the end of the world. Here, everything in Ushuaia is related to the end of the world. So we have the train to the end of the world, the museum of the end of the world. So you'll be hearing a lot of this end of the world mystic that we promote. So we can do the national park, the classic visit, 4 hours. We go in the morning or in the afternoon. We recommend to do it in the morning so you can have the afternoon free to visit the Beagle Channel or other tours. If you do a morning visit, normally we start with these different stops. We go to Bahia Ensenada, to Bahia La Pataya, and we visit there are 3 stops that we walk a little in these 3 points in Lago Asigami. And let me show you all. This is also something that you can include on your visit. You can include the train into this train of the end of the world as part of the tour, or you can have it let it as an optional trip for your passenger to buy it on the spot if they don't want to have it included. This might be a risk in a cruise season because sometimes the cruises are bringing a lot of people together in the same time. So sometimes those are the only days that are very busy. The train is always busy. But if not, you can leave it as an optional, and normally they will find space to buy this train ticket. This is just a 1 hour ride. Remember that this is a recreation, it's a historic recreation of a historic train that used to be the prisoners' train. In the past, there was a big prison in Ushuaia that bring the prisoners into the national park to, well, it wasn't a national park at that time, to cut the trees. So they will be collecting wood in the forest. So they have been using this kind of train to collect the trees in that time. This prison I will mention later. It was a beautiful, later I'm going to show you that. But the train connects from the train station, like 1 hour ride from here. They normally do a stop in La Cascada La Magdalena. We can walk to the cascade, and then we will get back to the train and continue all the way to the other end of the rail, that where there's a second station, and we can continue. Our vehicle will drop our passengers here. We do the train, and then we will collect our passengers at the end of here. If those passengers are not taking the train, they only wait, and they continue with the rest of the passengers that take the train in the other end. So it's a possibility to have the national park with or without the train. Very easy to add it on as an option. Of course, the train has a lot of marketing, so everybody that comes to Ushuaia wants to do the little ride on the train. Thus, some VIP sectors, private cabins, or just the regular seating. If you do the VIP, they include some drinks and some snacks. But then if we continue with our national park, we do this stop in Bahia Ensenada.
You think it's supposed to look like that?
This is Bahia Ensenada. It's a famous place where we can see the Isla Redonda. From in the past, we used to have boats leaving from here to Isla Redonda and to visit that. Now we recommend our passengers to bring their passport, because here in this little cabin, you can put a stamp on your passport for being in the southernmost place in the world. Actually, the person who lives here says that they are the governor of the island. So there's some mystic about this person who is doing the passport stamps. And also you can send a stamp postcard to your country from here, from the end of the world. Yeah, so this is a kind of a good experience to receive from some postcards like in the old times. We also visit in the national park this end. The last part is the Bahía La Batalla, where everything is ending. The last point where you can visit by road. This is the ending of the road. The route number 3 comes all the way from Buenos Aires. So this is a long way, 3,000 kilometers. It's like more than 2,000 miles. And then we have the distance to Alaska, of course. Also, we can do a little walk through these walking bridges and to see the Beagle Channel, the maritime part. Remember that we are facing an ocean. This is a channel, but it's a salt water. So this is actually the only national park that has this connection between having in front of the ocean and good forest, lakes, because we also have this Lago Asigami. Lago Asigami, they change the color depending on the time of the year that you visit it. It's in a different color, so that's why the main characteristic of this lake. So these are the main visits when we do the classic visit of the national park. Then another version, another way to see the national park is one that I consider very good because it's a way to walk a little in the park and try to get away from the masses. So for this time that COVID is affecting, probably it's a very good tour alternative that you can do a little walk. It doesn't have a big climbing, so it's a very soft trekking, soft walking in the different landscapes in the lake. So normally we bring, this is a different tour. So we came with a special 4-wheel drive vehicles and we stop in here and we walk this part or this part, depending on the tour that we take. And in the time of the year that we do this visit, because we can do this visit all year round, but in winter, normally this is in our summertime, but in winter we can also do a different version that is the walking, because the walks normally get stuck with some snow, so they go for different shorter walks in the winter time. Another option is taking hike and canoes, both things. This is a little more adventure. Actually, the walking that we do on this tour is 8 kilometers, so it's a big longer than in the previous one. So it's a full day. It's 8 hours in total, and we have the possibility of taking these canoes. So it's a water and walking experience. Great for people who are looking something extra of adventure. Yeah. So also this excursion can be done without taking the boat. If you want to do just a longer walking part in the park, you can do that and skip the boat part, and then the vehicle will meet the rest of the passengers. So these are all the beautiful landscapes that we see when we get into the national park: lakes, falls, little forest. This is in winter time, as I was mentioning. The landscape changes a lot, but it's amazing also in winter. The navigation, that the boat part that they do, the canoe, is a bit shorter in winter. Now I will mention some possibilities that we have in terms of navigations. For me, these are the most important tours in Ushuaia. Everybody going into Ushuaia has to do one of these tours. There are many possibilities here. There are, as you can see on this map, like we have like 8 different possibilities and different combinations of doing navigations to see the different areas of the Beagle Channel. So this will be recommended for a passenger who is not coming on a cruise. Actually, some passengers coming on cruises, they also take this tour because they see the different things. So for example, if you want to get in contact with the penguins or get into an estancia, they have to take this kind of trips. Also, some of them, as you can see on the map, combine by land and return by boat, or there are different combinations that I'm going to explain right now. So let me first explain you the first basic tour is the 3-hour, 2 hours 30 Beagle and Sea Lions. We visit the main lighthouse, which is the Les Éclaireurs lighthouse. This is not the end of the world lighthouse, but everybody call it the end of the world lighthouse. There's one, the real end of the lighthouse is located in the State Island, a bit further out in the channel. But this one is the most representative of Ushuaia. So we visit the sea lions, the famous Les Éclaireurs lighthouse. And then we return back to Ushuaia. Another option for passengers who are looking more to be in contact and to have less people, because normally the first excursion that I was mentioning can take from 60 to 100 passengers on each boat, depending the company. And this one is much more smaller, 20 something people they bring, and they do a little walk on one of the islands in the in the Bridges Island. So we normally take this boat from Ushuaia, and we go to the Bridges Island, and we walk in the island for 30-40 minutes, and then we return to Ushuaia. This is the walk in the island. So this is the smaller boat. Also, this is something that you need to consider, having all the navigation. Sometimes because of the winds that we have in Ushuaia, some of them are canceled because of the winds. So sometimes it's better to have 2 days in the area. So if one day it's canceled, on the next day you can probably have more chances to do the different navigations, especially if you use these smaller boats than the larger ones. One other tour that we have in the Beagle Channel is the Beagle with the penguins from October to March. That's the season that we have for the penguins. We also visit the same main islands that we saw first, the island of the sea lions and the Les Éclaireurs, also the lighthouse. But then we continue on the same channel. We continue all the way up to the Isla Martillo, where the penguins are located. Yeah, Isla Martillo is this is an excursion that you see the penguins from the boat. You don't disembark on this one. Later, I'm going to explain you another possibility. In this island, Isla Martillo, we see Magellanic penguins, you see Papua penguin, and sometimes, if you are lucky, you can see the king penguin, which is the yellow one that you are seeing on that picture. Another navigation that we have, it's the Beagle with the Estancia Harborton, right in front of Isla Martillo where the penguins are, is this estancia. It's a lot of history in this estancia. So you can combine, take a boat here, visit the estancia, and then visit they have a beautiful museum with some marine animals in there. They have some historic flora and fauna. They talk to you about the history of Ushuaia with the famous Yaganes. We are the first inhabitants of the area. So we visit all this, and also they have their very well conservation in this. They have a very good conservation program in this area. So these are the owners of the Estancia Martillo, where the penguins are located, the Estancia Harborton. So from here is how we combine the tour. In the first tour that I was mentioning, you go by boat and you return by land. Now, this is another option that is combining Harborton with the penguins. This is including the navigation, the visit of the estancia, and the walk, including a walk in the island of the penguins. Now, this is a very demanded program. The island, as is protected, this island only can handle up to 100 passengers. So what happened here is that we have to divide the groups. We take a boat from Ushuaia. We get into Estancia Harborton, we divide the group, and into the island, maximum of groups of 20 people to interact and walk with the penguins. That's why it has a lot of demand. Pre-COVID, this was a very demanded program, and sometimes you couldn't get space to walk with the penguins because it's only 20 minutes at a time in the island and a maximum of 100 passengers per day. Yeah, this is a beautiful tour to interact a little more with the penguins, but they have some restrictions of the amount of passengers in the island. Now, for a first-time visitor to Ushuaia, I do recommend to include a city tour, a double-decker hop-on, hop-off bus that covers the different points of Ushuaia. But there are 2 points that I wanted to mention that it's worth to include the visit. One is the Museum of the End of the World, and the second is the Museum of the Presidio. Presidio is a jail, and this was a very famous jail up to the 50s that was closed. Very dangerous prisoners were handled here because of the hard weather that we have in Ushuaia in the winter, and sometimes in the summertime they can't escape in the area without surviving. If they escape, normally they will return to the to the jail because it's the weather in this area. It's very, very hard. This is the End of the World Museum that has all the history, flora and fauna, and also it gives some historic part of the first inhabitants, the Yamanas. Remember the Yamanas? And this is the Presidium inside. Now the Presidium is just a museum and we use it for touristic purposes. We do the visits. Sometimes we also organize incentive groups having private dinners or thematic parties. Very good to interact in these big pavilions. It's good also to include the visit. Yeah, remember this in that prison was related to the train. Yeah, those were the prisoners that were going to the national park to cut the woods. This is a picture also from Ushuaia, from the water. Now I will start talking about the different alternative tours that we have in this area. Yeah, going more inland into the countryside, the back country. Puerto Almanza, we will cover now Lagos off-road that are four-wheel drive vehicles, and we also cover Cabo San Pablo, which is a new tour that we have in the area. The lakes off-road all year round, and it's a full-day activity with including a barbecue lunch. There's one version that it's a bit shorter without lunch. It goes all the way up inland from Ushuaia. We go through the route number 3. We do a few stops, and then we get up to Lago Fagnano or Lago Cami. They're changing the names of the lakes in this area. And then we start doing some off the beaten track program with those specific vehicles. This is the Garibaldi Pass, one of the highest points that we have to do when we get out of Ushuaia, getting inland. We have to cross the highest point, and it's not very high, but we are crossing the Andean range. Yeah? Remember, I mentioned that Ushuaia is near the Beagle Channel. This is the crossing that we have to do when we get out of Ushuaia by land. But it's a beautiful scenic route and a great view to the Lago Escondido and the Fagnano. Getting back to the four-wheel drive vehicle tour, this is a 6 to 8 passengers per vehicle. Not very good for people having back problems. Of course, that it's a very bumpy road when we get to the forest. There's also a possibility to see beavers. There's some good stories about the beavers. In the past, they brought, in the 50s, they brought a few beavers to work with the leather, the furs, and they didn't work very well. So they let them go in the freedom in the national park, and they grown so much the community of beavers that has been destroying the forest of the area. So it wasn't very good for the area because the beavers don't have any predators. They don't have anybody hunting the beaver, and they have been destroying most of the forest of the area because well, there are soft trees in the area. Now they are trying to control the beavers. Community is more than 100,000 beavers in the area. Also, they went into the Chilean side. So it was not a very good interaction of the man putting the beavers they brought them from Canada, but here they didn't adapt so well as the Canada climate is different. So Fagnano Lake, we do this visit with these four-wheel drive vehicles. We go through the shore of the lake and we return to Ushuaia. One version of the tour, we have lunch in a typical cottage in the cabin. And also we have one option that covers the lakes off-road with the possibility of doing some canoes ride in the lake in Lago Escondido. and return back to Ushuaia. We have another tour inland of the Tierra del Fuego that is going to Cape San Paulo, and also we visit Estancia Rolito. It operates only in the summertime from October to April, and it's about 9 hours. We have a barbecue lunch in the Estancia Rolito, so we go all the way from Ushuaia through the inland, the same route as the four-wheel drive vehicle, but we continue all the way to the Cape San Paulo to see, to have a little walk in the shore, and to have this lighthouse visit that was destroyed by an earthquake in probably 40 years ago. And we also visit this little ship that was stuck in the mud, in the sand because of the tails, and it never could they could never get away from here. Yeah, so this is a ship that we just visit. And then on the way back, we visit the Estancia Rolito, a typical historic estancia from the area. We have some snacks here, and we can have a possibility to stay overnight in this estancia. They offer 6 rooms in this typical estancia. Most of these estancias are ship sharing estancias. And we have the possibility to stay and interact more with the local gauchos, the gaucho, the cowboy, and have the typical barbecue, the lamb barbecue, lambs here. And this is the inside of the estancia. Another tour that we offer for those passengers who want more experience is the king crab, going and fishing your own king crab to have lunch on your own. So we normally take passengers to Puerto Almanza. This is a little town located on the way to Harborton, but before getting to the estancia Harborton, we deviate up to Puerto Almanza. This is a little fisherman town, very, very little, but it's beautiful and very nice and very good to interact with the fishermen here. Actually, we take your passengers, we get them into the boat, and they go out for fishing. They collect their own king crabs, and actually they are, if you are okay, you can cook them your own, or if not, you just go out to a little walk in the town, and you return when the king crab is finished, ready for lunch. Not only that, in terms of gastronomy, we have about a part of the king crab, the centolla. We call it centolla in Spanish. We also have a lot of seafood here as we are facing the Beagle Channel. The typical also black hake. This is a typical dish that we have in Ushuaia. Also very expensive as the king crab. Not very, but for us, as it's in dollars, it's as expensive for us. The local Argentinian peso is a bit devaluated right now. So coming with dollars, it's very affordable for you to visit not only Ushuaia, all Argentina. It's a very good time to visit Argentina. So the king crab and the black hake, typical dishes of the area. Also the lamb barbecue that I was mentioning, the typical asado barbecue, the asado. And then we have different alternative tours for those passengers who want to get more in contact with the nature. There are beautiful hikes and soft adventure programs. I will start with one that I love. It's a program that is going in the inland of the opposite to the national park. We go to near the Estancia Harborton, but before getting to the Estancia, we start with soft trekking, and then we take these canoes to navigate through a little river to connect from here up to the ocean, to the Beagle Channel, and then we will visit the Isla Gable and the Penguin and the Isla Martillo Penguin Rockery. So it's a very complete tour in the opposite side of the national park for those passengers who are looking more off the beaten track and to be away from the main touristic areas. This area is more unexplored. So actually we do have these typical trees in the area. We call it flag trees, yeah, bandera. Flag tree, it's very typical because of how hard the winds are blowing in this area. So the trees are grown in this position. Not only this one, we can see a lot of these trees on the way to Estancia Harborton and in different areas. So we do the trekking, we do the canoes, we take the boat, the same boat ride to see the penguins, and we don't walk with the penguins on this tour. We just go to Gable Island, and we walk in the island. They have the company that operates this has a little refuge to have a snack and to have drinks, and we return back to Ushuaia. Yeah, it's a beautiful day trip to be away and less massive than the other tours. Another option is going by land to Estancia Harborton and walking with the penguins. Remember in the first slides I mentioned about the navigation to Estancia Harborton. This one is going in and out by land, but we do interact and we cross with the little zodiacs from Estancia Harborton to Isla Martillo, and we return to Ushuaia. Yeah, the Estancia Harborton has a lot of history. It was one of the first estancias settled in the area from the English. The family is Bridges that settled down. They have beautiful scenic parts, a little cascade. You can also stay overnight in this estancia. They are Anglicans, so they were coming here to convert the local communities in the area, the Yamanas, and now it's a 4th or 5th generation of the Bridges family that is running the estancia. Yeah, so this is a estancia from the air, right in front of the penguin. So you can stay overnight here and get in contact with all the flora and fauna. They have a little museum. They have the possibility to take the boat to the penguin. So it's a very nice way to interact with this area and to be in contact with the gauchos also of the area. Now, more different trekking options. This one, for me, is the less attractive. Laguna Esmeralda is beautiful, but it's more massive. It's a lot of their people from Ushuaia are going here on the weekend, especially in weekends. So we try to avoid sending a passenger, especially if you're on a Saturday or Sunday. There are a lot of our people from Ushuaia going into this lagoon, and some muddy road to get there. They're trying to do some paths, to recreate the access to get to the lagoon. But the lagoon is beautiful itself. So if we have passengers that want to have really good hiking, trekking in the area, we have this Laguna Turquesa, Monte Carvajal, or we can also offer the Cerro Pelado trekking with a great view of Ushuaia and the channel. Look at the city of Ushuaia is down there. And so these are more demanding trekkings. We are getting up to 1,000 meters up, so great. The same as this one, visiting the Glaciar Vicinguerra and Laguna de los Témpanos. There are different trekkings for different passengers that are depending on what are your demands or your kind of passengers, how hard they want to go up. This one, Vicinguerra, they get up to a glacier. And also we have beautiful helicopter rides, yeah, from 7 minutes to an hour. There are different routes that we can take, and for different budgets. Of course, it's not a cheap tour, but we depart from the old Ushuaia airport here. It's very close to the city, the old airport. Now the airport is a bit further out, but this was the old airport where we will take our helicopter ride. We can do shorter rides, one having a little champagne glass, visiting the Monte Carvajal. In summertime and in winter, it's totally different landscapes. This is all the landscape that we see with the rivers and the grasses that grows in that area. Now going into the winter activities, we have beautiful winter activities. As I was mentioning in the beginning, it's all year round to visit Ushuaia. So if we go in winter now in July, August, and actually you can ski in this area up to October, which is the longest season from the ski centers in Argentina. Cerro Castor in October. Normally all the other ski centers like Bariloche or Las Leñas, they stop in August, September maximum. This one has one more month up to October that you can ski. snowboard. You can also do in this area cross-country ski, snowboard, of course. Cross-country skiing is very popular. A lot of ski teams from Europe and from the States are coming to train in the opposite season. Now we are getting a lot of people on training teams. Actually, 2 years ago, we had the World Cup for skiing in Tierra del Fuego in this Cerro Castor. It's not a huge ski center, but it's a very good one, very good quality of the snow. Yeah. So we can put some rackets and walk snowshoeing and walk in the snow with this kind of a special things. So the husky experience, we can do the sledges. We can be taken with these beautiful dogs that I love. There are a few routes that we can discover here. Also the same routes that we normally go when we do the Nordic skiing in this area. Also snowmobile, beautiful routes that we can take in Ushuaia in winter time, all in Tierra Mayor on the way to the Fagnano Lake. Remember when we talked about the 4-wheel drive vehicle, in the same route, we have all these options. Snow and fire, remember that in winter we have very short days. Winter normally from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. And as we are very south in latitude, I'm not sure if I mentioned, in summertime, the days are very long, from 5 a.m. till 11 p.m. Now in winter, you get dark very early, like at 5 p.m. you are already in dark. So we have different possibilities to end up having a beautiful dinner in these kind of cottages. Now, another activity, cruises around Ushuaia. Remember that I mentioned about Antarctica. This is the gateway of Antarctica. So we have from 9 to 15 nights programs visiting the classic peninsula or visiting the Malvinas or the Falkland Islands, or visiting, depending what option and how long you want to go. This is the closest access to Antarctica, yeah, from Ushuaia all the way to Antarctica. Also, we have cruises leaving out from Punta Arenas. Remember, it's always from November to March. Most of the cruises are expedition cruises, so you disembark with Zodiacs. Every day you have different disembarking parts, and we do different visits depending which route we are taking. Here we can have different companies operating this, like Quark Expeditions. We have Ocean Wide, Aurora, Albatros, Enterprise. Well, there are many companies operating these cruises in this area, and we have many possibilities to have all kinds of routes and different programs. More focus on wild animals and penguins, some programs that have some ice contacts and some trekking. But another option, without going all the way to Antarctica, is an expedition cruise that is going from Ushuaia to Punta Arenas. Remember how we started this webinar, combining from Chile to Argentina or from Argentina to Chile. The program works from both directions. It's a 4-night program. It doesn't matter where you start, it's 4 nights always. And this is an expedition cruise. It's not deluxe, but it has a very good quality of rooms and food, and all operates the same as the Antarctic cruises, like with Zodiac disembarkings every day, visiting and having trekkings. So at night you have lectures about what we are going to see and visit on the next day. And at the end of this webinar, I'm going to show you a little video of this company called Australis Cruise from Ushuaia to Punta Arenas. Or this is the map that we normally do. Well, this one is the route starting from Chile to Argentina, from Punta Arenas to Ushuaia. This company operates and visits the Cape Horn, one of the southernmost islands in the world. The Cape Horn, it's a very typical, has a lot of history. They visit glaciers. They have, you see wildlife, you see whales, penguins, you see also a lot of flora and fauna in this area. Taking those cruises are amazing experience. Now, Ushuaia is a stop for many shore excursions, many cruises doing the circumnavigation. They're going all the way down from Rio de Janeiro, stopping in Buenos Aires, stopping in Puerto Madryn, and doing all the way around South America. They normally stop in Ushuaia. Some of them are visiting Antarctica on the same cruise, and some others just visit Ushuaia and continues all the way up through the Chilean side. So they go back visiting the Chilean fjords and return all the way up to Puerto Montt and Valparaíso near Santiago de Chile. Those are typical cruises like Princess, Norwegian, NCL. Well, there are many companies operating and stopping in Ushuaia as another stop. Now, one more tour more in deep to the island is this Darwin expedition. It's a very little boat, but we are getting very remote into the countryside, into the off the beaten track and crossing into Chile. So this program started in Ushuaia and ended up in the Chilean side. And we spent 2 nights in one little boat here in Lago Blanco, crossing Isla Josefina. So there are many beautiful places that we can discover. But this is not a deluxe cruise. This is only eight cabins, and you have to put your passengers and explain that it's going to be shared bathroom, only 3 bathrooms in total in the boat. Good food, but this is a new program that we are launching in our brochure. We just put it in the brochure, but it's going to be operating since the next season. This actual next season is not going to operate. It's only going to be available in 2022. Season starting in November. Yeah, remember summer season, it's when we operate these programs. Also, you can have the possibility of visiting the King Penguin Reserve in the Chilean side, either from Ushuaia or from Punta Arenas. This is a long distance from Ushuaia all the way to Punta Arenas. It's more than 12 hours because you are crossing the border, but it's also a long distance. But also one point that we can visit is this penguin, King Penguin in the area. This is the only penguin that is the second in size penguin, and the only place where we can see these penguins in the area. Another point, and the last one for this presentation, is crossing the channel from Ushuaia. In front of Ushuaia, remember when I started, I was mentioning another town here called Puerto Navarino and Puerto Williams. Puerto Williams is the one that is claiming to be the southernmost city, actually a little town, but it's still claiming to be a city, the southernmost city, and is in the Chilean side. So you can cross from Ushuaia, just a short crossing, but you need to do an overnight, minimum 1 overnight, but you can also do a few extra nights, like 2 or 3 nights and spend and visit the southernmost trekkings in the area. Beautiful for people who want to get more involved, more in touch with the nature. Here it's amazing landscapes. And this is one of the options that we can stay overnight at El Errante Lodge with around 13 rooms. It's not in downtown of Puerto Williams, but just 5 minutes away. This is some of the rooms that are looking into the channel as well. Remember, we are in opposite to the Ushuaia, just in front. All these programs that we have been talking today are included in our tour book. If you don't have it, later we'll follow up with you and send you the link to have the digital copy of our tour book. Beautiful brochure with a lot of programs discovering these areas of Argentina. We have been talking about this down the southernmost city here, the island down of Ushuaia, Tierra del Fuego. Last 2 weeks ago, we talked about glaciers in El Calafate and Torres del Paine with El Chaltén, trekking destination. This is the southernmost part of Patagonia, and how to combine it with Argentina and Brazil and Chile, sorry. Buenos Aires to Ushuaia, remember, 4 hours flight. I would do recommend 2 nights stay, but as you saw, there are many possibilities. So you can stay for a week or take an Antarctic cruise for 10 days in the area. Now I'm going to end up with a little video of Australis cruise. But before that, remember to follow us on our Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and also we have all these videos and webinars loaded in our YouTube channel. So you follow our YouTube channel, you can get and share this video or webinar recorded to anyone on your company or with friends. To see more about the areas that we have been discovering. So let me show you a little video of to end up with the Australis cruise.
I've sailed many seas and have seen hundreds of landscapes, but something happens here at the end of the world that has kept me behind this helm year after year. Maybe it's because aboard Australis, you become witness to thousands of stories jealously treasured by the seas of Patagonia, which only become real to those who have the privilege to sail here. Here, where majestic glaciers make you feel small, and silence becomes the loudest of sounds. Here, where you can live all 4 seasons in one day, and the sunset can display 1,000 colors. Here, where the imposing landscapes remain untouched by humans and, at the same time, allow you to feel the invisible trace of former sailors that permeates these passages with a unique sense of magic. It's this same magic that shines in the eyes of our guests, and it is through them that I live every journey as if it was the first one. It fills me with pride to take them safely to Cape Horn and sail through these waters that were once so difficult to conquer, but can now be enjoyed with ease from our comfortable cabins, delighting in the warm hospitality of our crew, sharing moments of amazement, and feeling part of a unique journey. And so, enchanted by the landscapes and encouraged by our expedition guides, the adventurous spirit of our passengers awakens, keeping mine alive. Because when we sail through the most hidden marvels of Tierra del Fuego, every trip is a blank page ready for a new story to be written. Australis, 30 years of sailing.
Excellent. So thank you very much for joining us today. And again, great to have you here again in visiting this part of the world of Argentina. Remember to send a lot of your passengers and or visit yourself to these beautiful areas. Thank you. Thank you, Jimena.